Recording.
I too am recording.
Yep.
Are we live?
This is what recording looks like.
We're live coast to coast.
LA to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that was, but it was really off tune.
Which is not coast to coast.
No,
That's what it is.
close enough.
Not really.
Yeah, it's not.
Close.
I mean,
like
I guess
halfway.
like lake shore to coast.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's not.
No. All right. Ready? Doing it?
Nope. Let's do it anyway.
Doing it. Oh, Ethan took off his headphones.
Ethan left. The second you said ready, Ethan took his headphones off.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, there we go. Earbuds in.
Everything all right, Ethan?
Hello, Ethan.
Ethan?
You there, buddy?
Hear us?
Are your headphones plugged in, Ethan?
Ethan. Oh,
I
boy.
don't think he can hear us.
I feel like he could at least
Can you hear us now?
so that we know what he's doing.
Can
You know what I mean? Like,
wave?
Yeah.
like at least,
Tell
send-
us that.
say something into the microphone.
Wait, I think I hear typing.
Tap, tap,
I
tap.
hear typing.
Oh,
Hello? Can you hear us?
why wouldn't he test this microphone?
Ethan, can you hear us? Ethan, can you feel the love tonight?
Remember when I was talking about Ethan moments earlier?
Yes.
Ethan forgot to buy the microtransaction that made his earbuds work.
Ba-dum-bum.
Oh, he's shaking his head.
Can you hear us?
He shook his head instead of.
Can you hear us? I don't think he can hear us because he's
No,
not.
He can't. He shook his head when I asked the question via. Nope.
Oh, Eddie's
There he
gone.
And he's gone. And welcome to episode.
We've done 570 of these, as you can tell.
Oh boy.
You realize his
Somebody.
recording's going to be completely screwed up tonight, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll have to do another clap.
Oh jeez, another clap.
Jeez.
Deepest
Yeah.
creepest, fellas.
Apparently, delaying the show by an hour wasn't long enough for Ethan to get ready.
I was ready. I'll just like
You
to
were the
throw
first
that
one
out
to
there.
join. You were the
That's
first
right,
one to
I
join.
was.
Yeah. Just saying.
Darn tootin'
Oh,
I was.
Ethan's back.
Ethan.
Okay.
Can you hear us?
Ethan Einhorn.
Hey, yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes,
What?
We could hear you the whole time.
Sorry about that.
we can hear you the
Oh,
entire
geez.
time.
You
All right.
are you on Wi-Fi again or something though? Because you're coming through at about a half a frame a second.
No, and it should be fine, but it's not.
No,
He's fine.
you're fine.
His voice
Yeah.
is fine.
You're not roboting or anything. You're just
No, you're not roboting. You're good.
Yeah,
you're just a slideshow. You're an Ethan slideshow.
That happens.
Okay.
That happens to the best of us.
you're running at like 5 frames a second.
You're like
It's fine.
you're like the Switch version of NBA 2K.
Oh, wow.
All right, I think
Does that,
Boy,
does, that
yo, yo,
mean
yo,
that,
yo,
does
yo.
that mean I'm worth hundreds of thousands of dollars?
No.
What?
Does this mean we have to do another clap, Ethan? Or did you
Maybe
stop
so.
recording? We should do
Oh,
another
boy.
clap.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't stop recording. We're good
Okay.
about
Okay.
Yeah.
Well then, we'll start. What do you think about that?
Yep.
Hello and welcome to episode 570 of the Player One podcast for Tuesday, October 10th, 2017. I'm your host, Chris Johnston. With me, as always, from Canada, Mr. Greg Seward.
Hello.
Happy Thanksgiving, sir.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to all my Canadian brothers and sisters.
Does this mean that tomorrow is Black Monday?
This means nothing.
nothing.
No, we don't have any kind of because retail is mostly online at this point. So your fancy schmancy Black Friday deals sort of trickle up to Canada as well. So along with all your guns.
So you celebrate Black Friday in the real day.
Sure.
Okay.
I wouldn't call it a celebration.
It's the reason for the season.
I'd
Reason
call it
for
a
the
major
season.
annoyance, but yeah.
A major annoyance.
Yeah.
What?
I think it's ridiculous.
I mean, I don't go to any brick and mortar stores
No.
during Black Friday, but the Amazon deals are pretty nice.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And joining me from the great state of Washington, Mr. Phil Theobald.
Yo, how's it hanging?
It's going pretty good. It's Columbus Day tomorrow. Here as we record.
What does that mean? Does that mean you guys have the day off?
It means absolutely nothing.
Like Columbus's voyage.
Yeah.
Well, no, but I'm wondering if it's like a stat holiday or something.
Well, we got I'm in the middle of fall break. Yeah. Here.
What the heck is fall break?
Break?
Yeah, fall break.
Some sort of Adult Swim games thing?
No, it's the schools.
What?
Yeah. Doing the fall break thing. I don't understand it.
I don't get the school year that you have down there.
I don't either.
Where does Georgia rank in education throughout this?
Talk about it.
I'm gonna go look it up.
I think the fall break might have something to do with that.
From the great state of California, Mr. Ethan Einhorn. Hello.
Hey there. Yeah, and I also am experiencing the kind of break window with the family. We have a lot of wealthy families at our school, and they decide that they October, and so that means that it's a week off of school for the kids, which is kind of crazy.
I don't think the wealthy people decided it was October.
No.
That the calendar goes.
Yeah. No, but they actually use that as a verb to October.
Some of the districts down here have like a full week off. And the one that Charlotte's in is only off like Thursday, Friday, Monday. So
I don't understand this.
I don't either.
Glad my son's getting an education.
Yeah.
So for those of you that remember Stratford Square Mall, this is where I ended up working when I was 16 at a software, etc. Was so happy to have known that. While it changed into a GameStop, that very place, was still standing as a video game store up until recently. But now apparently it's a mom's yoga place, and that mall has no video game stores. It's kind of a sad thing. So I don't know if your Fox Valley Mall, EB Games, or Babbage's is still up or not.
I think last time I was there, it was still there.
Interesting.
It was a GameStop. Yeah.
Strangely enough, I am not overly concerned about what has happened to the location of the job I had when I was 16 years old.
Over 1,000 miles away.
I drive by the Canadian Tire where I got my first job and kind of lament the fact that the store's gone.
Really?
Yeah.
It's where I got my first job, got my hand caught in a conveyor belt and everything. It was good times.
And you still have the hand.
I still have the hand.
Wow.
Yep.
You still have the conveyor belt?
No. But actually, this spot on my hand, which is like what ended up happening, is my hand got in between the conveyor belt and one of the rollers that is supposed to pop out if something like that happens, and of course didn't.
Wait, the arm is supposed to pop out, or
yes, the roller is supposed to pop out, and it didn't. And anyway, when I get a sunburn on this arm, you can actually see a really dark red patch, and that is where I hurt my hand. Where the conveyor belt ground the skin down. Listen, before we jump into the show, I think that it's appropriate to because last week we recorded before what went down in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, because we had just been there the week before, happy to report that the Ice Cream Social guys are all okay. Their families are all okay. They have there's a 1 to 6 degrees of separation between them and some people who were injured.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure if they know anybody who's died from it. I hope that's not the case. But anyway, it's a great show that you should listen to anyway. But CJ pointed this out earlier in the week, and I think it's worth us pointing it out on the show, that their episode 400 was recorded 4 days after the shooting. And the guys sit down and recount what it was like for them on that evening. Like I said, luckily none of them were at the location, but I mean, they all work on the Strip. So they were not that far away for the most part.
Jacob, the audio guy, he was actually working that night at Caesars and ended up being there inside and everything.
And the reason, again, that I bring it up, because I listened to it after CJ had mentioned it too. And not only is it interesting to listen to just to hear what their experiences were, but also to hear about how people were helping each other out that night.
Yeah. So really, I mean, yeah, Ice Cream Social is an outstanding podcast.
And outstanding guys.
And yeah, fantastic guys. But yeah, this is probably not the funniest episode of their show. No. Go figure. But
although it actually does get a little funny at the end.
No, there's some funny bits. But it's definitely a really good episode, really worth a listen, and our hearts go out to them and to everyone in Vegas, because it was just I don't know about you guys, but that whole incident really kind of messed me up for a few days, just knowing that we were a week removed from being there ourselves.
Right. It was double creepy for me because actually my ex-wife texted me the next day and said somebody's watching over you, because when the big terrorist attacks happened in Paris, I had been there the week before as well.
Oh, jeez.
So
stop friggin' going places, Greg.
I know, right?
No more traveling.
So yeah, and I mean, but of course that that's nothing compared to obviously the people who live in the area, and super happy to hear that they're all okay.
Absolutely.
And their families are all okay. So, but anyway, you should go listen to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'll link that in the show notes. It's a fantastic episode.
Yeah,
and not laugh a minute, but
their show tends to be if this is your first time.
Interesting.
Yeah. If this is your first listen to Ice Cream Social, know that it's usually a funnier show.
True.
But this one, it's an important show.
I think so.
It's a really good episode.
And it also includes links to places that you can donate if you would like to help out the victims, as well as calling out the fact that you don't need, if you want to give blood, which is super important, you don't need to be in the Las Vegas area to help, because the Red Cross, well,
from what I understand, if you have any blood sitting around the house, you can just toss it in use a padded envelope. Don't be
media
crass.
Mailer.
Yeah, media mailer. Yeah,
just write to Las Vegas on it.
You might want to freeze it first. Like a night trap. But anyway,
delicious cherry popsicles.
But in all seriousness,
yes.
In all seriousness, consider
donate.
They ship that nationwide to where it's needed. So yeah,
that's cool.
Speaking of Vegas, the Lunchcast that we recorded is up now for everybody on the feed. If you've not listened to that, check that out. And the Ice Cream Social guys provided the video for episode 568, and that is on our YouTube channel, so people can actually watch that thing go down.
If you want to watch us up on stage
and everything that you may have missed from this,
can't believe how fat we are.
Exactly.
I'm just telling myself the camera adds 50 pounds. So
yes.
Oh man.
All right, should we talk about some news?
Let's do it.
I'm real excited too. I'm real excited because there
was
a lot of Loot Crate talk in the news this week. I can't wait for another 40 minutes of Loot Crate talk, guys. Let's dive right in.
Greg?
Hi. Okay. Yeah. So,
no, I was kidding.
I was waiting for you to make some sort of introduction. So last week we talked about what had happened with the Forza 7, Forza 7 in general, but also really the controversy was surrounding the Forza 7 VIP membership, which is a $20 service that you buy, which gives you a bunch of bonuses. And last week we had called out the fact that what used to be a permanent 100% credit bonus had been reduced to 5 consumable cards for credit bonuses without warning. So we had talked about that, and I had pointed out that in Forza 5 they did something not exactly the same, but similarly sort of penalized their community, and how 6 months later that Microsoft in Turn 10 sort of did a 180, fixed the economy in the game, and basically took out all the paywalls in that game. So, and all I was saying is that there is a precedent for them to do this sort of thing, although I did say that they might not go for it this time because obviously it's a different world. It's years later, and Loot Crates are a thing now. However, on October 3rd, Alan Hartman, who's the head of Turn 10 Studio, released a letter on ForzaMotorsport.net, basically saying we have heard your complaints. we immediately updated the VIP description in the Windows Store, which we talked about last week. And he apologized for any confusion or frustration that the players may have experienced. So, for their trouble, they have awarded the VIP members four top tier cars that are worth a ton of points for the collector's level. You have to go up collector tiers to unlock more cars in the game. The 4 that they sent actually bumped me up to level 4, and I think you only need to get to level 5 to have unlocked everything. The 4 cars that they sent are also all have credit bonuses attached to them when you use them. Plus, if you use them on certain tracks, you get even higher bonuses. And he also said that more significantly, they'll be changing the VIP rewards. The new system will work like it did in Forza 6, offering a 2 times base credit bonus after every race. That has not been released yet. They've started work on it, and they will release it as soon as possible. Which again, last week I said how I thought it would be difficult to change it because the balance is built around sort of the loot crate system. So anyway, just calling that out. Still kind of, about the fact that they decided to use not only their community, but the most dedicated members of their community as guinea pigs for this whole setup. But I mean, that's not a bad turnaround. That's like a 3 business day turnaround. So
the statement came out either the day before or the day of the official release, and of course
it came out the day of the official release.
Yeah, the early access folks, had been playing it for a few days by that time, but
yes,
it was quick. It was quick.
It does read to me like there has to be not just there, but other companies as well, tension between publishers and developers, where the developers know loot crates are wrong, but the publishers are forcing.
Okay, but I want to back this up because I figured you'd do this. This has nothing to do with loot crates. They haven't changed that.
No. Ooh. And also in Forza 7, important to remember, you can't currently buy them, right?
There are no microtransactions in Forza 7.
Microtransactions. Right. Yeah. Well, what's interesting on a very similar note, you guys heard about WWE 2K18?
No.
Okay, so this, 2K also was under fire for
you totally register lootcratenews.com because you're on top of the headlines.
I am. Well, this is an important thing, and it's very good. It's a pro-consumer thing. WWE 2K18 has tons of loot crates in it. It was pretty clearly set up to monetize just the same way that NBA 2K18 was set up to monetize, but they have announced, and PC Gamer covered this, that you cannot purchase virtual currency to be able to unlock loot crates in WWE 2K18. So the ability to whale hunt has been removed from the game, and I bet you anything that was a response to the pushback on 2K18 for NBA, and if that's the case, that's fantastic. It means that publishers are listening.
Yeah, this was kind of the point there with Microsoft, although like I said, it has nothing to do with the loot crates. But you also can't use hard currency to buy loot crates at this point in that game either. So, but it was nice to see that they, again, kind of sad that they decided to use their most dedicated fans as guinea pigs in this situation. But I mean, that's a pretty quick turnaround. So, good on them. I'm happy as a consumer. Kind of bummed now that I feel kind of bad for the developers because I'm sure a lot of time and effort went into balancing the game a certain way, and just like with Forza 5, because of what they did there, that's all been blown out of the water. So God knows how the game is supposed to be balanced at this point, but still, at least they fixed it.
Yeah, that's good. All right, Nintendo is increasing Switch production to 2 million units a month.
Okay.
That's pretty crazy.
That's great. That's a wonderful sign.
Fantastic sign. Absolutely. Nothing really more to say about that.
I was going to say, it just seems like a non-story. It's like, hey, popular system is upping production to keep up with demand.
Well, they didn't make any announcements around upping production around the Wii U. So, this is good. It's cause for celebration.
It never had to up production around the Wii.
Never had to. No.
But I think what's great though is that we're seeing that this idea that kids won't want this because they're growing up with different type of technology is proving to be a false narrative. You have a lot of really great products for kids that are popping up in the store. I was at a GameStop this weekend, and it was really cool to see a mom picking one up with the Ninjago game and all of that for her kids. And that there's just interest, not just from the core audience, but from a larger mass of consumers, including parents picking stuff up for the kids. I didn't know if that would happen, and it's wonderful that it is.
Yeah, I think the more interesting thing is I think Nintendo in general has this narrative that it's only for kids, right? Or complete casuals. And it's kind of nice to see things like Doom and Wolfenstein get announced for Switch. And this increase in production, means that the older players who like their graphics on PS4 and Xbox One are also open to buying a system like the Switch. So it's good. Hopefully more third-party titles will be coming in 2018. I feel pretty good about that. When Blizzard announces Overwatch, that'll be my want list done, completed. Everything checked off.
You don't want any more games after that? That's it?
No, we can just close up shop. Stop production. Stop Switch production entirely.
There's just something that I think they should fix with Overwatch, and then I'd be super excited about it. It's so close to perfect.
You know what? I agree. They need more characters in that game, and I think if those characters appeared in loot boxes, would probably be the way to go.
They need to add Nintendo specific characters. So Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach, they need to be in Overwatch.
Like Samus, get a loot box, and you could get Samus as a playable character.
Yeah,
I love it.
Well,
I love it.
Actually, I might have been talking about a single-player mode that should be in there. If they brought it over, it would be lovely to see a single-player mode, at least on the level of Splatoon 2. That would be cool. Oh, yeah, and Kill the Loop.
There never will be.
So I just want to say, because actually the green pipe in our chat said exactly what I was thinking when Ethan was talking about how this is solid proof that kids love the Switch. I think you're jumping the gun a little bit when you say that. I do hope the third-party support remains, but let's not kid ourselves. Third-party support right now is a bunch of games that are late to the party.
That's true.
And we still need to see how they sell.
But go ahead and say what Hacker Alias Green Pipe said in the chat here, that EA will probably drop it after FIFA sales belly up.
Right.
And we'll see how I really do wonder. So I don't think so. FIFA sales will kill EA's appetite for going after Switch games. I think you have Ubisoft, who released Mario plus Rabbids and became like the highest selling third party.
But that's an anomaly.
I know it's Mario Rabbids, but then you've got Skyrim coming, you've got LA Noire coming, you've got Doom, you've got Wolfenstein. Like, let's see how those do.
Sell. Well, that's exactly it. I mean, to pretend any of those are more than a canary in a coal mine is being a bit optimistic, I think.
But I think this is a better sign than Wii U, which got nothing after that initial launch push of games that were 2 and 3 years old.
This is the hump they need to get over, and this is why I think it's going to be more interesting. And I have always said that this Christmas was going to be more. Well, this Christmas will be super important because they need to get over that hump, because we saw this with the Wii, we saw this with the Wii U. I mean, a lot of great numbers, but if third parties aren't selling things, then they will abandon. So we want to make sure that all those games sell well. As far as EA goes, I don't know that FIFA not doing great will definitely kill their interest. I think what it will do, though, because where that is I think that's still their top selling franchise on the sports side.
Sure.
If it doesn't do well, I think you'll see the lower tier sports not appear on the system.
Yeah.
I think that's fine though, and I don't think Nintendo needs that. And frankly, between the Nintendo first party and AAA indies like SteamWorld Dig 2, I think that they have more than enough amazing content, even if they never got another game from Ubi or.
Don't say that.
I disagree, with you completely, but yeah.
I want more games from everybody.
No, of course, I want more games too, but I'm saying, like, the big third-party games, if they're not there, I don't think it by any stretch kills the system. And by the way, they're planning on shipping 20 million total, this year for Switch, and the Wii U in its entire life cycle sold 13 million. So, to significantly oversell the Wii U's entire.
No question.
Yeah.
No question. I mean, it's super popular, and so was the Wii. But we were talking about third parties.
The difference now, too, well, Nintendo going into the holiday season, you got Mario Odyssey coming out in just a few weeks here, and that'll be big. And you got Xenoblade coming, in a few weeks. You got Skyrim,
Fire Emblem,
all this stuff. Fire Emblem still, coming this month. And they're actually doing demo kiosks in stores now. They back in March when the system debuted, it was just a video screen, like a sizzle reel, and now they've got actual units that are playable, including a demo of Mario Odyssey, which I have not gone into a store to play yet, but apparently it's there.
Really
cool.
At some locations, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it
cool.
either. But I did see Switches at Target and at GameStop this weekend, which is great.
Yeah, I've seen Switches out in the wild. I think the first time I saw that was back in June. But they're making enough of them now, and people can readily get them on Amazon. And they're making 2 million a month. So hey, this is good signs so far. We'll see how it goes. Speaking of hardware, Sony is releasing a revised version of the PSVR hardware.
What's different about it?
Which is not.
It's a small
exciting until you. It's exciting until you read what the revision is. For the most part, it's really what it's doing is allowing HDR pass through.
Oh,
so the breakout box apparently, and I had no idea about this.
If you had a PS4 Pro, you weren't able to take advantage of HDR.
Right. If you were running your signal through the breakout box.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah. So now you can,
or
you will.
But also simplifies some of the cabling as well. So,
sure, that's cool because there's like 6 cables coming out of the thing. Yeah. So that's great, but it's not. Oh, and they're integrating the earphones into the headset. So
yes.
So if you own the original, you're not getting left behind technologically. Not at this point anyway. So
yeah,
it's more convenience than anything.
And Japan gets those units on October 14th, and U.S. release date is at some point after that. We'll see them in stores.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. What else we got here? Early access to GT Sport demo for PS Plus on October 9th. Yeah,
guess who put that on there?
I think it was you, Greg. And you get to save your progress and bring it over.
GT Sport has finally come out this month, October 17th. And PlayStation Plus members can preload the demo now. Can download and play a timed demo on October 9th until October 12th.
Tomorrow.
I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah.
And also we should mention
as we record.
The big PS Plus game of the month, which is Metal Gear Solid 5. If you haven't played that, getting that game for free is unbelievable because it's like 100 hours long.
Yeah.
And it's arguably the best game on the PS4.
Doesn't that game have uncapped spending?
It does, and that's a terrible, terrible thing.
Okay.
Yes. But you can play the single player without even touching any of that stuff, right?
Okay.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. Okay.
Speaking of online games,
Friday the 13th
comes out in retail on Friday the 13th, and there's also an update which adds a bunch of new stuff, including Part 4 Jason, and we're gonna get together and stream it.
When on Friday the 13th?
On Friday the 13th, at 9 p.m. We're going to get a group together to play. So mark your calendars for that. It'll be on the P1 Podcast YouTube channel, and it'll be great fun. And I've actually figured out now how to stream the chat audio, which will make it even funnier because it won't be like listening to a one-sided phone conversation with me just laughing. It'll be more entertaining than a Gaming Steve podcast, I promise.
I don't know.
Well,
let's not go crazy.
There are goals and there are goals.
Okay.
Not overstep our boundaries here.
It'll be fun though. I think it'll be fun. We got some listeners coming along for the ride. Pete Dodd said he'd join up too, and it'll be fun. I don't know, Greg, Phil, Ethan, are you actually gonna?
I'm planning on it.
I will try.
Yeah, same here.
Get in on this. Okay. Yeah, put the kids
plan.
to bed early and play some Friday.
Well, I mean, for Ethan and Phil, that would be like putting the kids to bed at like 4 p.m.
That'll work out fine.
I'm going to pick you up from school, and we're just going to go straight to bed, kiddo.
Exactly.
Stop crying.
It's easy to fool a 5-year-old.
Stop crying. You're ruining my game night.
They can't tell when the sun goes down.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just to have him watch a little bit of the game.
Not
and
the
then,
ones in Georgia, apparently.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
That's true. Can't have everything. Anyway, that's it for news, I think.
That was painless.
Yeah, painless.
Yeah. Okay.
It gives us more time to talk about what we've been playing since we didn't get much time last week.
And, oh my God, so many games. Ethan, you want to kick us off?
Mm-hmm.
Hang on.
Sure.
I got to go get some popcorn. Hang on a sec.
Well, I was going to actually say you should, at least in the show notes, let people know where they can get the conversation you had several years back about Super Metroid, because with the SNES out, that Gamer Club episode, I think, would be something people would love to watch. I went to go see Blade Runner with Greg Ford this weekend, and he was talking about Super Metroid, and that he had played through it specifically for the Player One podcast. So that's actually the game that I've been spending most of my time on this week. That's a game that I had never finished. Played a decent bit of it on the 3DS, but now I'm close to the end of it, and nice. It is very good. I mean, that's stating the obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really a game that ages well. But I will say that one thing I really do like better about the 3DS Metroid is that it makes progression easier to understand. There have been several times in Super Metroid where I have gotten stumped and had no idea where to go. And the big problem is then I start to think, oh, okay, well, there were some areas that were not accessible in earlier parts of the game. Maybe I should go back there, because now that I can access those things, that's where the secret, new weapon is that I need to use. And that never ends up being the case. No. So then I just feel like I've been going through this loop, or I'm pushing myself to find some area that's not clear on the map that has to be blasted through, that I just would never have found were it not for the help of a YouTube, video. So I have been cheating a couple of times, and it always kind of feels bad to do that. But I think some of the game is obtuse when compared to the very elegant solutions that the 3DS provides, which is, here's where the next objective is, the next Metroid. We're not going to tell you exactly how to get there, but we're going to give you the rough general location, so you're always digging in the right place.
Returns, where you have that little scanner, right? You can kind of put out a radar blast and see what's around you. I think that has been hugely helpful in that game, and I kind of that would completely change the balance and dynamic of Super Metroid, but you kind of want that in that too, right?
Super Metroid's a pretty short game overall, though.
It is a short game, yeah. So less than 10 hours.
This is just really all this is, more than anything, is an example of game design from the early 90s.
Yeah,
that's true. And Super Metroid, the only game the first game anyway, that made me jump out of my seat towards the end.
Really?
I
couldn't believe what I was seeing
during the big scene at the end.
The big scene,
yeah, which we don't want to spoil, because there might be some people out there who are just playing it for the first time, but
that's right.
Yeah, not least of which me. So I haven't seen the ending yet. The bosses, even by today's standards, though, when they're taking up multiple screens, is pretty damn impressive.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's really cool. The music is great. The thing is, though, is there are times in which, again, mechanically, it's just kind of a pain when you have to switch from your phasers to your missiles to take on different enemies when you're fighting an end boss, and it's all hitting the select button and trying to get it set up at the right time. That can be a little clunky and a little bit frustrating. But again, that's kind of an earmark of the era.
Yeah, for sure.
Still, it's something that I'm very happy to be going back and playing. And what I'm doing is I'll play that for a few hours. I'm about 9 hours into it now.
Oh, so
and you should be almost close at the end then.
To the end.
I am very close to the end. Yeah.
Have you seen Metroids yet?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. You're close then.
Yeah.
Okay. So, really enjoying that. And in between rounds of that, I'm playing what I think is my favorite game on that platform, which is Yoshi's Island. It's so great to be able to play that again.
Yes, it is.
And I mean, getting all of those special effects back and, playing it as it was intended to be played, that's a real treat. So really, really like it. I would also say if you have an SNES Classic, do check out the newest issue of Power Pros where they rank the games. The one thing that rankled me is, of course, as I just said, I'd put Yoshi's Island number 1. They put it at like number 19, right below Star Fox 2.
Wow. What?
I will say that I wouldn't rank Yoshi number 1, but I'm not sure I'd rank it number 19.
No,
especially with the what was last? Kirby? Was it the Kirby golf game last?
Yeah.
Okay,
of course, that was the lowest.
Right. But
Yoshi's Island is at like a top 3 on that SNES Classic.
To me, it definitely is.
And that's the Power Pros podcast that you're referring to, right? Not a magazine.
No, it's the podcast. It's Chris Hoffman's podcast, and it's by guys that used to work at Nintendo Power, so they're in the know guys, and it's a great conversation.
Clearly, now we understand why Nintendo Power's not around anymore.
Yeah, they
no, because Phil killed it. We all know
I was the one guy there who was like, Yoshi's Island is outstanding. You guys really need to pay more attention to Yoshi's Island, and everyone's just like,
I still haven't played very much of that game.
Well, that's exactly the problem because it came out.
I honestly, I never played it at all, pretty much until it came out on Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
Oh, and this version is so much better. I mean, the thing is like the super effects stuff that they do is subtle, and so it's like it's not in your face. The art style ages way better, in my opinion, than like Donkey Kong Country or even Super Mario World.
Well, that's you don't have to throw in my opinion on that.
Yeah, right. You're just right about that.
Really, really nice 2D hand-drawn art is going to age better than mid-90s
pre-rendered
Silicon graphic workstation stuff.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
That's been crushed down to a lower resolution and
exactly.
color palette.
And here's the thing, though, that does surprise me a bit is when you look at the fact that this did spawn effectively a series of Yoshi's games. I do think that the Yarn Yoshi game was really clever in its aesthetic, but I'm surprised that by and large they never tried to repeat this kind of art style because the Yoshi's Island art style is so distinctive and beautiful. And
I mean, they did try, right?
Yoshi's
sequel,
Yoshi's New Island, and
terrible.
Oh, it was not good.
Yoshi's Island 2, and that's because they farmed those games out to other developers.
I always assumed that Yoshi's Island didn't sell very well. Do we know that?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't think we
just because it came out really late in that system's life, didn't it?
Well, the PlayStation was out when that came out.
So
yeah.
So are you guys playing your SNES Classics, and if so, which games are you playing?
I haven't booted mine up in a little bit, but I want to get back to Final Fantasy III when I do.
I was playing Mario World.
Okay.
I just dove into Mario World.
I'm playing a bunch of Contra and Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
Nice. Super Ghouls and Ghosts is so hard. It's great, but man,
it's ridiculously hard.
Yeah. Even playing on easy, it's like the fact that normal is not called insane is kind of a shocker. So give yourself all the lives and put it on easy, and it's still going to be a game that kicks your ass.
Good luck.
Wow.
Right. So SNES, I just am really happy with the time I spent there. Of course, the other big thing that I've been spending time on this week is Stardew Valley, and I think we've all been playing that as well, right?
No.
Yes.
No.
I have been playing it, and my daughter's been playing it too.
I just want to call this out, Ethan, and I love you, but that's the second time in 2 weeks that you've done that, which I just think is so funny. I think we've all been playing this, and out of the 3 possible yeses you get, you always get 2 no's.
Yeah. Well, that surprises me. Just it's a big game. I have never played Stardew Valley before.
It's a big game.
Yeah.
Well, it is a big game.
It's a big name.
It had tons of
Assassin's Creed.
No, but you know what he's saying. I mean,
it's big in a Terraria or Minecraft.
This is the hill I'm dying on.
Oh, Jesus.
Go ahead.
All right. So yeah, I like it a ton. It's so varied. There's so many different things to do. I love the fact that you can actually go and hunt monsters, but you also have all the great farming stuff, and you have the social sim stuff. So I started up a new farm with a character that looks just like me with the red hair and the goatee. He got the deed to spend.
I'm gonna kick you off this show.
Where his potato plants have been thriving.
Does he look exactly like you?
Well, he looks exactly enough like me to feel like it's a good avatar. No, that's the person who gives you the deed.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I wasn't sure.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but it's very engrossing. And
what's the name of your farm?
It's called Spencap Farm.
Because even when you're not on the show doing your shtick, this is what dominates your real life.
Even in a game that is not going to remind you of microtransactions whatsoever.
You need to be reminded
to die on.
Yes.
Well, Spencap Farm wasn't allowed in Farmville 2. They didn't, give you the okay to be there. Here,
it was already taken.
Right. Stardew Valley is.
No. Anti-spend cap.
Oh boy.
Right. So no, it's been super fun though, and one thing that we've talked about a number of times before when it comes to Minecraft is that difficulty of knowing what to do after you've gotten yourself safe from the monsters. Here, I do like that they give you a ton of objectives that you can pursue at your own pace. There's very little pressure, and it's super relaxing to just play for the course of the day, and then have your character go to sleep and turn off the machine.
So is it like I've never played it, but I see people talking about it all the time. Is it basically Harvest Moon? Is that, or is it?
It's Harvest Moon meets Animal Crossing. With a little bit of kind of Zelda dungeon. Crawling in between. It's an interesting combination, especially since it's done by 3 guys.
Okay.
So
you're saying that it's giving you objectives that you can sort of pursue at your own pace. But is there a set progression you can take through the game too, or because that we've talked about this before with Minecraft, and I know that you just referenced that, but that was always my thing. Is like. I appreciate the freedom that it gives you, but it's actually the reason I don't play the game.
It's more like Animal Crossing, right? In that you have a progression that you can go at your own speed through.
But is there an end game? I guess is what I'm asking.
I don't think
I believe there is
an end game.
I believe there is an end game.
Okay. Interesting.
I do know, looking at Reddit, that some people are just pounding their way through it, and they're already on like year 3. And bear in mind, it works day by day, and each day is like 20 minutes. So
good Lord.
The amount of time you need, but it really does suit the platform to have it portable, because it is the kind of experience that actually feels to me more at home on a tiny screen than a big screen, though it's nice sometimes to pop it onto the big screen. So I've been enjoying that. And then the kind of sister game to that, also created by a small team of one, was Axiom Verge. And I call it a sister game just because it's another one of these indies that's the,
Axiom Verge, not a farming game.
No, it's
not even a little.
No.
But it's it's the artistic vision of one guy, and it's Metroid, and it's really, really good. I'm really enjoying that. It's especially nice to be playing that right after having finished 3DS Metroid and almost being done with Super Metroid. But I never played that either.
What I love about it, Ethan and I, is that we both play really old games. The difference is he thinks they're new.
No, well, I mean, it's new to me.
Played it.
It's true.
So, and I did buy Oxenfree, but I have not had a chance to play it yet. But I'm really looking forward to that one as well.
And another indie darling that showed up on the Switch.
Did you play, Ethan? Have you played that?
What's that?
Have you played that 2D skateboarding game?
Ollie Ollie?
Yeah, play that before you play Oxenfree.
Shut up, Phil.
What?
That was so bad.
What?
I don't even get it. Why?
Ethan's still trying to process it.
Yeah,
that's the best part.
They call that one a way homer, Ethan, because you only get it on the way home.
Oh, okay.
Play Ollie Ollie, Oxenfree, in that order.
Oh, got it.
Just
now I got it.
Say it in your head.
Is this thing on?
So, yeah, and I'll just make a minor mention of one other game, which comes out this week, is a game that was made by Jaleco in Japan.
Wow.
And was
It's pronounced Jaleco.
Jaleco, okay.
Is it Racket Attack?
No, this is the game Soldom,
Styanax,
which is the puzzle game on the Nintendo Switch. It is coming out boxed. It's going to be at like GameStops and Best Buy, so it got full distribution. But it was published by two guys that just stumped up for the money to get the cards made. And it's kind of interesting that you have two-person teams that can do full publishing, not just limited run style, but like, 20,000 plus copies in retail. And really neat that you have teams of that scale being able to get stuff out on box product. And that there's a market for that.
So and those two guys were Albert Einstein.
So what is the game about? What is the game like?
So it's a match 3, where the basic twist is if you can bracket any set of colors with one color, like if you have like a red, green, and then on the far left and far right of that you can drop 2 blues, they all turn blue, that type of thing. It's the easiest way to describe it. It's a mechanic that at first is a little confusing in the game, but once you get it, it feels really good and it feels new. It feels different than just another Bejeweled or Puyo or Tetris.
Cool. Though Puyo and Tetris is still fantastic.
Oh, it's wonderful. Yeah. And I would say that that's still the best puzzle game by a long shot on the platform. But this is a nice complement to that if you want something that's new. And as I said, it's cool that you're getting box product from teams at that scale. So that's
more surprising is Jaleco still exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably making pachinko games like everybody else.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. So so that's what I've been playing.
Alrighty. Well, I've been playing Golf Story, and I'm sure everybody picked this up past week.
Yeah,
I picked it up.
No, are you playing it? Everybody,
a little bit. I mean, not really.
Yeah, I played quite a bit.
Well, everybody should play Golf Story because it is a charming little game on the Switch.
You're a charming little game.
Well, thank you. It is a golf RPG. And the graphics are sort of nice little pixel art. It looks great on the Switch screen. The dialogue and the writing is just super fun and light and funny. And I'm in the second area now, which is sort of like a prehistoric, like a caveman area, where everybody speaks in a caveman voice. And
I was just going to say, it's so satisfying, too, that after you do all the little objectives to make people happy and they finally let you use the golf course, like then that build up to use the golf course makes the golfing itself even more fun.
It's true. And I love in this game that almost every NPC you talk to is talking about how much you suck at golf and how terrible you are as you roll through the game. It's just really, really fun. And it's definitely like a breath of fresh air in golf games. I was sort of disappointed with everybody's golf, to be honest. And it's nice to have golf in a different context here. The game is only $14.99, well worth a purchase. I hear it's like 10 plus hours, maybe even like 20 hours long. So definitely pick that up if you're looking for a fun little golf game to play on the Switch. And
it
is the perfect platform for it. It's like you get 2 games with one price. So,
and this is why I'm saying, like, all these games we've been describing, never mind stuff like SteamWorld Dig 2, is why I think that Nintendo is just fine no matter what happens with the third parties.
It's certainly a great platform for indies.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab this when we get through the season of sort of the big AAA Christmas games.
Yeah.
So probably like sometime December, I'll probably grab this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so charming, and yeah, don't sleep on Golf Story.
I don't want to. Being a huge fan of Mario Golf on the Game Boy Color.
Yeah,
I want to.
It does feel like that
again. Yeah.
That game was great.
And I've been playing Stardew Valley as I mentioned when Ethan was talking about it. I did want to say my daughter started playing it. She saw me playing it and wanted to play it too. And one of the things that she started doing in it, which I thought was so cute yet utterly futile, was she'll go into the department store in Stardew Valley, the big name department store, and she said that it's Practical Joke Day, and she would use her watering can in the store to, I don't know, get people to slip.
Nice.
Of course, nothing happens. Wow. Nothing happens when you use the watering can in the store. But she was making up a story in her mind. It was great.
That is great. Yeah, Stardew Valley actually, it's the second game in as many weeks where I've just surprised my daughter by putting the game onto her device because I knew that she'd love it. And the other one was Picross, and she's been loving that as well.
It's pronounced Picross.
I can't bring myself to buy that, knowing that there are no touchscreen controls.
It works fine.
It really bothers me.
Great.
Really?
Yes. Yes, it does.
I never assume Mario's games. I never assume you can use touchscreen controls in any.
No.
Well, no, I don't normally either. But I mean, it is a possibility. And I remember playing Mario's Picross, and I remember being okay with Mario's Picross because that was what you had.
But you had a stylus.
Yeah. It was all that was available.
That's exactly right. Using your big finger to smash on.
You have a big finger.
You got meaty hands. You know, Switch screen is a little small. Like you'd have to zoom those Picross boards up pretty.
Okay.
You should pick it up, Greg. It's well worth it.
It's $8.
I know.
Well,
value at twice the price.
Well, it's $12 here, I think, but
well, then it's a value at that price.
So Phil, you've been playing that?
I have.
How? I mean, we've talked about like the Picross games that came out on 3DS.
I mean, it's a new one of those.
They had a surprising amount of content in them. Like, is it? I'm asking how much content. Like, is there a lot of content here for the $8?
It's one of those. It's the same. It's from the same series as the.
Oh, is it?
Games.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, it's you're getting pretty much the same amount of content, which means you're getting half as much content as you should be getting because it has Mega Picross on there. And Mega Picross is the worst. Yeah. So, you get half of it is great Picross puzzles. The other half is garbage Mega Picross, which you'll skip because it's terrible.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Phil, what do you got for us?
Well, let me tell you, buddy. Let me tell you.
I'm ready.
I've been playing Picross, which is outstanding. I finished SteamWorld Dig 2.
All right.
So good. No spoilers. No spoilers.
Well, it turns out you dig all the way to the Earth's core, and you have to fight the Earth's core, which is sentient.
That progression loop feels so good, though.
No, I love the SteamWorld Dig series. I played through the original SteamWorld Dig, I believe, 3 times.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Yeah, because I played through it on 3DS, I played through it on PS4, and I played through it on PC. So I was super excited about this game. Went through it. I have not 100%ed it yet. I'm sure I will go back to it. It's on the back burner now that I've finished the story mode anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It is beautiful too.
Oh, it's an all around. It's a great game, and you end up getting it feels very much like the first game, which is that it's a Metroid style game where you sort of end up carving your own passageways and tunnels as you dig through the ground.
Yes.
And you end up collecting items that really help differentiate this game from its predecessor. Just you end up with some really cool ways to traverse the the caverns that you have dug. So it's definitely worth picking up. I'm a big fan of SteamWorld Dig 2.
Awesome.
So, yes. Yeah, let's say. Oh, I picked up the first Nintendo Arcade Archives.
Oh, I picked that up.
Which game was that?
That's fun. Mario.
The original Mario Brothers.
Cool.
And no, it's not fun because the original arcade Mario Brothers is not a very good game.
That is true. I like the Apple II version of that better. I played that way more.
There is no version.
Are you playing with?
What?
Are you playing with someone? Because I'm playing with my daughter and we're having a really good time.
Really, you love those crap jumps, do you?
Well, they really are crap jumps. They are the worst.
I don't care how many people you're playing with. That game still controls like duty.
Where it accelerates as you go up.
Yeah, no, it's a terrible game, but I wanted to pick it up just because it is the arcade version of this game, and it's kind of a new precedent that Nintendo's releasing arcade ports.
Yeah,
which is good to have.
So they're doing Donkey Kong at some point, right? No, Donkey Kong's the one they don't have the rights to.
We discussed this already. Although who knows?
Punch Out, I definitely want.
Yeah, Punch Out will be great.
Yeah.
So, I also picked up on the personal computer, the Cupheads.
Okay. All right. So I want to hear about this because I was super excited about this game, and then I saw this video from this guy named Dean Takahashi who made it look really, really difficult.
Well, I'll say this: I got through the tutorial on my very first try.
Nice. You're a professional gamer
now.
But you had seen somebody else go through it.
That's true. So. That's not really a fair comparison.
That's right.
You know what's terrible? The first time I did play through the tutorial, I did stop at that part he got stuck at and just I'm gonna be a moron and just dash into the wall and see if that. I was just
a moron.
There was no one around. I was just amusing myself by kind of poking fun at Dean Takahashi.
Just like always, Phil's alone. He's playing with himself
like a big bully. That's what I did. But
it's a pretty game, though.
It's a beautiful game. It sounds gorgeous. It looks stunning. The animation is without flaw.
So what you're saying is you haven't passed level 1. Yeah.
No, I've actually gotten past the whole first world. I'll have you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I've beaten maybe like half a dozen bosses. Beaten a couple of the run and gun stages, which they were tacked on, and they kind of feel tacked on. I know a lot of people were complaining about Cuphead when they found out that it was kind of a boss rush game.
It was originally.
And it was originally a boss rush game. And people, when people found out about that, there was a lot of complaints. And I actually was one of those people complaining. I was kind of more excited about it as a platformer, but playing it now, I think they should have just left it as a boss rush. I think it works just fine. I think it works fine as a boss rush. I mean, not that the run and gun stages are bad, but you can tell that they were just kind of thrown in there after the fact.
So I'm bad at games.
Okay.
And I get frustrated easily.
Okay.
Should I buy this?
I want to say yes.
Really?
Well, you know what? I mean, it's tough. It's a tough game.
Is it Alien Hominid tough?
I don't think it's that.
That's
tough.
A great way to put it.
I don't think it's that tough. It's now granted it's been years. I haven't played Alien Hominid since it first came out. But I think the most times I've had to kind of seriously retry a boss, maybe like half a dozen times.
That's not terrible.
No, I mean, and there's been a couple bosses where I've kind of reset quickly. It's like, I'd start fighting a boss and then end up just making a silly mistake and taking a hit early and then realizing, ooh, I don't want to take this hit this early. So I quickly restarted the game. But as far as like actual dedicated, like, okay, I'm sitting down and I'm powering through this and seeing how well I do, like I said, maybe half a dozen attempts to get past a boss.
Okay.
Are there difficulty options or not?
There are. When you go into any boss fight, you can choose to fight I think they call it simple, perhaps.
Yes.
Or the regular, whatever they call their normal difficulty.
I did hear, however,
yes,
and maybe this is what you're about to say,
and yes, I'm sure it is.
Simple mode does not let you progress. Like you basically have to. It's like a practice mode.
It's basically a practice mode. Yes.
Yeah, you have to go through it in the standard difficulty, which is hard.
Yes, because the plot of the game is that you are, Cuphead and Mugman made a deal with the devil, which is kind of the game's subtitle is don't deal with the devil. And in order to prevent the devil from claiming their souls, they are tasked to go around and fight all these bosses to whom the devil owns their souls. And as you defeat them, you collect their souls to give to the devil.
That is dark.
It's a dark game. It deals with some heavy subjects. This Cuphead. And if you play it on the simple mode, you do not end up collecting their soul at the end. And actually, I don't believe you do the whole boss fight. Like there are the first time I tried it, I was like, okay, I'm going to try this on simple mode. And like the boss doesn't go through, because the bosses will have multiple stages.
Sure.
Right. Where they'll switch up their attacks and things like that. And the one boss that I tried on simple mode did not go into its final attack phase. Like I actually was able to defeat it before it moved on to like the third method of attack or whatever. So
I was playing a game recently that did the same thing when you set it on easy. I'm trying to remember what it was.
Yeah.
But there were whole segments of the boss that you didn't get to. Well, I mean, it made sense in this game too, because it was super difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the point of the game, then okay. But otherwise, I really don't like to be penalized for choosing the easy difficulty.
Right. But like I said, treat it more as like a practice mode to kind of get yourself to some of the early patterns of the bosses. And as you go through the game, especially during the run and gun stages, there are coins you can collect to purchase new weapons. Like I now own a spread shot, which is obviously very usable to have during
the best weapon in the game.
That's kind of why I went for it, just because I've played Contra before.
Right.
So, and you can buy like an extra heart so you can take an extra hit during the match and stuff like that. So
okay.
Yeah, so I
want to play it. I really want to play it, but I'm again reluctant to spend the money right now, just because there's so much more that I am definitely playing. That
I think, I mean, it's so worth playing because it is so good and it's so polished.
Yeah,
and again, it's a labor of love project, and it shows. And it's a small team, and it's beautiful. The music's great. There are a few songs with like full lyrics and everything.
Cool.
Huh.
That really kind of sell that old-timey 30s cartoon vibe. And
so a lot of racism. There's a lot of old-timey racism like you found in the old cartoons. Really?
Whole lot. Yeah,
sold.
Boy, they seem to really hate the Japanese.
Yeah, well,
no, it's not true.
It was a different world.
There was a lot of racism in the old cartoons, but not in Cuphead.
Yeah,
that I've seen. I mean, I haven't finished the game, so I can't speak. But there's I kind of don't want to spoil it because it was such kind of a cool graphical effect.
Don't.
There is during the Second World, during this kind of the second batch of boss fights, there's a genie boss,
and we're gonna leave it at that.
And the stage where you fight the genie just has this beautiful animation effect that again really kind of connects it to the old Fleischer cartoons.
Okay.
If you're up on your old animation history, that it's beautiful game. I highly recommend it.
Okay.
I think one of the coolest clips of the week that I saw on Reddit was somebody playing this game on an old black and white CRT.
Oh, yeah. And from what I understand, that I guess maybe you have to beat the game or something, but there is a black and white mode you can unlock in the game.
Oh, really?
I believe.
That's
I
cool.
don't know if it was on the Twitters or the NeoGAFs or something where I read that, but and I don't know how accurate it is. But go ahead.
To me, the $1 million question would be: do you think you would prefer the game if it was tuned to be easier?
No. I don't, just because the style of the game, it is a bus rush. The bus rush.
Yep. I love those games.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when you have a boss rush type game, if the bosses are too easy, then it's a cakewalk and it's no fun. And this game looks and sounds so nice that I don't really mind having to play through the same boss a handful of times, just because it's such a kick watching the animation.
Yeah.
Yep.
That, I'm still really, really heavily sold on the art style of this game. So being forced to kind of spend a little more time kind of mastering the nuances of reading the boss tells, where they're going to attack or what sort of weapon fire they're going to be shooting out is still really kind of enchanting to me. So I don't know, Greg, I would get it.
I'm scratching my back.
I'd pick it up.
Okay, well, I mean, that's good. It's good to hear because, like I said, it just immediately, and I think the reason why I even thought about Alien Hominid was because my son I had my 360 hooked up, and my son was just sort of going through and finding games that I had on the hard drive, and he came across Alien Hominid and he started playing it, and I was playing it with him, and I just remember when I bought that game and thinking, God damn it, I was so excited for this, and it's just it's too difficult for me. Like
Alien Hominid was a game that I did not have fun with. I picked it up. I dug the art style.
Yeah.
I dug what it was trying to do, but I just at no point when I was playing that game did I think I'm really having fun.
Right.
Whereas Cuphead, even when I'm constantly dying and having to restart bosses, I'm still like, this is
kind of like VVV. Because that's the feeling I have with that game where it's like, hey, this is the 30th time I've died in this spot.
Right.
And a mixture of just the gameplay being fun and the checkpoint system being extremely generous. It's like, I'm going to keep playing this.
Well, as long as the penalty isn't so bad, like if there's no lives system and you get set back only a little bit, that's.
I mean, you'll get bumped back to the beginning of the boss fight.
Which is fair.
Which can be, you might think it's a bit daunting, especially after kind of fighting your way through 2 of the 3 boss forms, only to have to get knocked back to the beginning.
Sure. But at least you're not like, oh, well, actually, you've used up all your lives, and now you have to go back to.
There's nothing like that. Yeah,
good.
And the game controls really, really well too, which is the other thing.
Okay.
Where.
Oh, I've heard that there's some randomization in the way the enemies appear that can be very frustrating.
In maybe the run and gun stages, there's a little. I've noticed a little bit, but nothing too daunting. I didn't really have any troubles with that.
Okay.
So get good. It's my advice to you.
Get good.
Get good.
Good.
Get good at games. But Cuphead is friggin' sweet.
All right.
I loves it.
Greg, what do you got?
I played Halo 3 ODST this week.
Well, because they added it to the backwards compatibility.
Actually, I didn't know that, and I busted out my 360 instead. That was a game that an Extra Life donor had requested.
Oh, nice.
So, I've forgotten how cool it was to walk through a destroyed city in the dark. Chilling out to some cool jazz.
Yeah.
Totally.
The music's great. The voice acting in that is really good too. I remember they had a lot of big stars in that.
Like Nathan Fillion and Adam Baldwin were the 2 I remember just because I was a big Firefly fan at the time.
Yeah.
It was a good game. It was a fun game, and it's so different. And I only realized afterward that it's on backwards compatibility now. So worth checking out, especially because I feel like a lot of people probably skipped that game because it was such an odd duck in the series. Yeah. And it also really made me pine for Bungie Halo games.
For sure. And that was originally set up to be DLC for Halo 3, right?
Probably. I really
allegedly.
Yeah. Good times, though. I finally dug in more to Forza 7, actually, mostly tonight, because I wanted to go in and make sure that I knew what they'd changed. And I got to say, because I didn't really talk about it last week since all we did was talk about the loot crates, but take all that stuff out of the conversation, and I am super pleased with that game. The car selection, track selection is fantastic. They have this year again. They've done changing conditions, which is not something that they'd ever done before. So you'll start a race in the dry, and then it can start raining. But not only that, they've actually taken different levels of weather, so you can, you can just be on a damp track as opposed to like a torrential downpour, as opposed to a thunderstorm, that sort of thing, and it completely changes the way the cars handle, which is really cool. I will say, as I was playing tonight, I was really struck by. I'm not buying an Xbox One X, but this game is going to look freaking amazing on that system, because I was running a race tonight before we got on here at Hockenheim in Germany, and it was in sort of slightly damp conditions, and when they do that, they have like a heavy mist hanging over everything, and it looks amazing. Like, it looks real.
Mist is pretty, but it sure is dull.
There you go. It doesn't look like sort of video game fog. But the thing that really struck me was that when you begin the lap, it's just everything's got that gray sort of rainy day look that you would see. But then you turn a corner and you realize that I think it's dawn. But you're looking at the sun. You can't see it because of the mist, but everything is lit up in this beautiful like orange glow. And it doesn't look like you would, it doesn't, you don't have like lens flare and all that stuff happening. It just looks like a misty morning would. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, this looks absolutely gorgeous, and I cannot imagine what it will look like on a 1X and a 4K television with HDR and all that. Like, it's going to look incredible.
Yeah.
But I mean, it looks good enough on the standard one. So outside of all the crap surrounding it, super happy with that game. It plays just exactly what I wanted from that game. So
that's great.
Really, really good. Yeah. And then what was the
and so the progression you don't feel has been compromised, really, right?
Well, see, I can't really tell now, because I've got 1 million free credits. That was the other thing I didn't mention earlier. They gave 1 million free credits to all the VIP members.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I've got 1 million free credits. I'm using my VIP for extra credits. I've got tons and tons of mods now because of player rewards for playing previous games in the series. So, I mean, like I said earlier, I think probably I won't experience what the progression is in the game at this point. Which also, I mean, I paid extra for the fact that I didn't want to, I guess. But, yeah. And then the other game I'm playing, which I believe we've all played, is Samus Returns.
Yes.
I think you guys, I don't know if you've all finished it. I know, Ethan, you finished it.
I have not finished it.
No. I have not. Actually, I ended up getting sidetracked by SteamWorld Dig to the point where I may actually, because I don't know if you've ever tried playing 2 Metroid-style games simultaneously.
It's hard.
You start to kind of mix the maps up.
Yes.
You forget where things are. I may actually end up restarting my Metroid 2 just to get the map fresh in my head again.
It will really test your patience at the end too. It's great, but it's hard at the end.
So okay, and this is I was having a conversation on Twitter earlier about this, because last night I got to what I believe is I think it's going to culminate in a boss fight, but it's the mining robot section.
Okay,
where you get into basically they give you long horizontal sections, and you're being chased by like a spinning blade. And you have to get through it, and then you drop down. And I think I'm on the 3rd pass, and I keep dying. It's infuriating. It is absolutely infuriating. That game that is
nothing compared to what comes.
Yeah, see that really bothers me. So I found with that game that I haven't resorted to FAQs. Like CJ said, I think you get enough tools in the game to really get yourself through. If you guys remember when we were in Vegas, I was complaining that I was completely stuck, but I figured it out. I
just want to say to that end, the wave beam, or no, the jump that allows you to jump over the pockets of air. That's the thing that absolutely
I did not know that even existed.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that was a thing. So anyway, getting back to what I was saying, like, for the most part, I've been happy to figure things out, and even when I'm stumped, I haven't gotten too irritated at it, because it's like, well, clearly there is a solution here I'm just not seeing, right? And for the most part, I've liked the progression of it. Some of the Metroid battles early on are a little bit tough, a little bit tougher than I think they should be. But for the most part, you know, I'm sort of mowing through them at this point. But there are some major difficulty spikes early in the game. But this thing, oh my god, like it's ridiculous, and there's nothing like it in the game so far. And I will say that I feel like the game feels a little bit padded anyway. And this killed my momentum. I played it like probably 10 times when I got to it. I got to where I think might be the end of it, but I just can't. I wasn't able to break through, and yeah, like I haven't touched it for 2 days, and I was playing it like every night. And now, Ethan, hearing you say that it's nothing compared to something that's going to come later, like I don't know, man, that might kill it for me.
I mean, that's and again standard with Metroid games, though, right? I mean, they do.
No, I mean these bosses get
DJ, but even this section alone, this section is nothing like any Metroid game.
Okay.
And it's
I just
check it out.
I was sharing notes, again with Chris Hoffman after I mentioned I'd beaten it, and he said, and I can relate to this, the last boss, it takes so long before you see any tell that he thought he was doing it wrong. Yeah, and that's kind of a telltale sign of a boss fight that's going to be frustrating, and it is, and that took me a long time to finish too.
Yeah, I'm really bummed because it was honestly up until this point, it was. I don't know that it was definitely on my top 5 games of the year, but it was a contender for that because I just, it was one of those things where I felt very lukewarm about the game as well. Like I feel like if I was describing it to people, I wasn't super excited about it, but at the same time, it was one of those games where it's like, I've got 5 minutes, I'm going to play some Metroid. Like I liked it enough that I was naturally drawn to it when I had a little bit of time to kill. Go make a little progression. It does way more right than it does wrong up to this point, but this point is killing it for me. And I don't know if I'm going to continue. I'm going to try it a few more times. But like I said, I have gone from feeling compelled to pick that game up every single night to 2 days now not playing it, and I don't give a shit.
Wow.
Well, and here's the mixed feelings I had finishing it. On the one hand, I was happy that I persevered and that I did get through the tough spots. That always does feel good. But I had this weird feeling of relief being done with it too. Like I can say it's done and I don't have to continue to knock my head against the wall.
And sometimes it is best to just take a break from a game like that and come back to it.
Which I will. I mean, I'm not never going to pick it up again, but I'm really soured. It really it's a shame that they took something that I feel was for the most part really well balanced. And it's weird for a Nintendo game, I got to say.
Yeah, I was going to say you look at Metroidvania games in general, and some people are calling SteamWorld Dig to that. But if the progression on that is anything like the first one, it's a gentle progression, right? It's about exploration, but you're never in a position where you're fighting a boss that's incredibly difficult, that's designed to punish you and make you play 10 times over. And I think that the kind of progression you get in a SteamWorld Dig 2 is much more satisfying than the type you get in Metroid.
Yeah, and I would say that in a good Metroid, I hate the word Metroidvania, but I'm going to say it. In a good Metroidvania game, like you're rewarded for exploration. You're rewarded for taking the time to explore, and you are in this game. And it's sort of like I feel like the difficulty of bosses and progression in general, you have some control over that. Where it's like if you want to rush through to a boss room, and you haven't really, built up your missile stock or built up your energy tank stock or whatever, you still have a chance, but it's going to be harder, right? But if you have built up all your stock and you've gone and found all these different things, you're making life easier for yourself. The problem with this section in Samus Returns is it has nothing to do with the time you spent trying to beef up your resources. And
that's true.
It goes against what I feel is the philosophy of those games. So anyway, I really, really, really ticked about it. I'll pick it up again, and probably next week I'll sit here and say, it was easy. I got through it. But
there you go.
But I'm really, really cranky about it right now.
Okay.
That's it for me.
All right. Yep. I think that means it's time for tweets.
Tweet, 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 tweet.
All right, let's start with this one from hacker alias Soundscape 419, who says, have you guys ever had a real heated argument that you had to edit out? I'm betting Greg and Ethan.
I want to say that I want to call out here that a lot of the things Ethan says drive me completely nuts. I don't ever get mad at Ethan for what he says.
No.
And for what it's worth, I mean, we've known each other, what now, 16, 17 years?
Yeah.
We always talk to each other like that.
That's true. Yeah, I remember going to Baker's Square with you guys.
Yeah.
And being witness to many a heated argument, but it was never like, it never got out of hand or anything like that. It was always a really interesting discussion.
I feel like Ethan and I hold the key to world peace because we're able to do what people on the internet can't do, which is have completely disagree with one another and leave after every conversation as friends.
There you go.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think the other thing is that with all three of you guys, I see, even when I express something that none of you agree with, a willingness to at least try to understand and listen. So, on NeoGAF, CJ made very clear to a listener what my general perspective was on the microtransaction stuff. And he said that he disagreed, but he articulated very clearly what my feelings were on it and the consistency of it. And that's helpful to me to know that when any of us have a difference of opinion, it's not dismissed. It might not be agreed to, but it's heard out.
And I'll carry that forward too, because on the Lunchcast we actually had a lot of people waiting for Ethan and Mike to get in.
I know, right?
And Mike called out on the NeoGAF thread too, where he said, again, don't agree with Ethan's position, but understand Ethan's position.
Yeah,
and there's no reason why we can't be civil, and it's so ridiculous.
What I'm saying, even when these guys are dead wrong, I'm still totally cool.
Everyone's entitled to their opinion, no matter how wrong Ethan is.
Exactly.
Yeah. And have we ever had to edit out a heated argument? No. I mean, we
don't think so.
We do the show live on YouTube, so the YouTube version would have it in anyway. The things that I've edited out have been discussions that have gone nowhere, or I've said something stupid, which I often do. Early in the show's history. Early in
the long conversation about 9 Lives.
Oh, well, we can talk about that movie later. But early in the show's history, I did edit out a lot more of that stuff. And at one point, there was one episode where I re-recorded my own audio because I said something stupid.
That's awesome.
On microphone, and then wanted to change it.
What else could I have said that would have made Greg react this way?
Oh, man.
Well, the other thing also is I think because we know each other so well and for such a long time, we can be much more direct without the standard pleasantries that you would have with somebody that you are less familiar with. And so I remember you guys telling me when Ford was the 4th chair that you had somebody that really felt that Phil hated Ford and, that there was a toxicity that just didn't exist,
Right.
It was simply that they could be direct.
As good friends, we've all realized Phil's just a bit of an asshole.
Yeah. What's that, Stinky?
Alrighty, let's do this one from hacker alias Innuendo20XX, who says, why won't publishers raise the price of games from $60 to $80 instead of the dishonest $60 plus free-to-play nonsense?
Because then Sticker Shock would mean no one buys it.
Exactly.
Yeah, Sticker Shock would mean nobody buys it. And even, I think this world where games are $60 plus microtransactions, they're really just preparing for the fact that games drop in price so quickly. They don't get their $60 for the majority of those sales, unfortunately. So, yeah, that would be my feeling on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem, though, if they did decide to do that. And I think that actually they could make some concessions like that, and sometimes do. Like the Forza pack that allows you to play the game few days early, which is more expensive. I think a lot of people are paying for the privilege of being able to play a few days early.
Sure.
I've always maintained that if you have a big game like Red Dead Redemption 2 and they say, look, our premium edition is going to be, you get to play this 3 months earlier than everyone else for $100. There's no multiplayer. Red Dead Redemption Online isn't ready yet, but you can start playing the campaign, and then we're going to give you the other stuff, but it's going to cost you $40 more. I think tons of people would do that. I think that there might be some grumbling, but
I mean, that's kind of what again happened with the Forza 7 is that people willingly spent, almost double the price for something that they were, for a value prospect that they thought was worth it. And that was one of the reasons why there's so much controversy, is that part of the understanding was actually not correct. But yeah, like that's the thing. You were paying for a car pack, you were paying for VIP membership, you were paying to play the game early, which they've been doing for a couple iterations now. And I mean, you're kind of seeing the same thing Sony's doing with Gran Turismo Sport next week. Although that's not necessarily buying a premium edition, it's that you pay them every year for PlayStation Plus.
right.
I mean, it makes sense to raise the price and add value and let the consumers decide if the value you've added is worth the extra price. I'm interested actually in figuring out why more publishers don't feel like they can go the other way with the prices, like we've seen Sony do this year with Uncharted and with Everybody's Golf. I'd like to see more of that. Remember,
I'd like to see that too, where it's 40 instead of 60.
Right, and you remember like that was a big thing at one time with 2K Games, where it was a huge disruptor when they released their NFL football game for $20 one year.
Right.
I mean, that was rock bottom pricing. But it was interesting.
It was a market share drive.
Different. Yeah, and I kind of would like to see what I wouldn't. I'd like to kind of see what a free market would do for game prices, although we've seen what a free market did on iOS.
Yeah, well, and I want to address that because this is really important. It's like, when you do have these games, I know that people absolutely hate the idea of a premium price and then pricing on top of that. But once more, like, provided you have that $60 upfront price, the publishers are obligated to give you $60 worth of content. Something that you see as worth that. The problem is, I had a conversation with a peer of mine who was also in free to play when I was working on that stuff, and I said I'd be happy to spend like $60 in a great free to play mobile game if I could play a game where it was understood that I'm never going to spend more than that, right? And his position was, well, we would never target someone like you, because we need somebody, if we're targeting customers, we need them to spend a lot more than that to make this whole thing worthwhile. So the problem is if the price goes to free, the person who's willing to spend $60 is not catered towards at all. They become irrelevant because
I would say on mobile, there have been companies that have tried to do what you're saying, like basically like a $30 spend cap in the game. And those companies are not around anymore.
Well, and I think that's what I was getting at, is that I think that's why letting publishers be free to lower their prices more frequently, at launch, is never really going to happen, because they don't want to see something like that happen. But Ethan, I agree. Like, and that's why I've never had a problem with, like, again, I'm using Forza as an example because that's the game that I play that does this. I've never had a problem with car packs and DLC on the Forza series, because I feel like for my $80 or $90 is what I'm paying here now, but I feel like I get more than enough game for that.
Sure.
Yeah. It's the same reason why I have no real problem with the fact that I feel like Nintendo packaged their Zelda DLC or their Zelda paid DLC a little bit wrong. I don't like the pricing of the DLC, but I have no problem with the price of the original game, because you got so much game for the price that you don't feel cheated.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and that, here you're going to hear something unusual from me, but like all the games I've talked about and complained about, from Overwatch to Shadow of War, Rocket League, all of that, the stuff that has all the loot crates, I will say this, for the games that are charging full retail price, if you play Overwatch, you're going to get at least $60 worth of content for the $60.
Yeah. And
that's well served. Yeah,
that's true. The other thing that's important to remember in all the pricing discussion is nowadays you're also, I mean, you're not competing only with games that are $60. You're competing with games that came out 3 years ago that are half the price and less.
Yeah.
Yep.
And aren't inferior products at all, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
like when you can buy, you know, Mordor, the original one, for like $5, or it was like $10 or $11.99 or something with all the content. It's just like, why would you even like be looking at games that are even $30 and $40? Like, there's a lot of great stuff for more budget-minded gamers these days, not even having to touch the $60 stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you've seen the early reviews for Shadow of War, you know, Kotaku as an example, they are saying that they played it, didn't use the loot crates, and didn't feel from beginning to end like there was any kind of artificial grind or anything that made the game bad.
That's the important thing, I think.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this one from hacker alias Joel W. Music, who says, "What's the most excited you have ever been for a game when it was announced and then been let down the hardest?" This is a very easy question for me because it's BioShock Infinite.
Oh, that's a great one.
That's probably
That's
fine.
not a bad choice. Yeah, I mean, if I sat and thought about it more, it might be different. But I would say Crackdown 2.
Crackdown 2 is another big one.
That's another good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, and we just talked about the series earlier in the show, is Yoshi's Story, the N64
yes.
game.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Because I
game-
thought, oh, cool. I mean, there were almost no 2D games on N64 except for like Mischief Makers and stuff. And so this was going to be like the awesome 2D game on N64, but I finished it in like hours and I was so disappointed.
Yeah, I was very excited about that game, and I was working at EGM at the time, and they came in for a preview tour and showed it to us, and we finished it.
Yeah.
And it was like,
I remember
what,
buying it and finishing it almost
what is happening? Like,
and not enjoying it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
would
that's
say,
the thing, is it wasn't good either.
No.
Yeah,
I would say
but-
too, because I have to mention at least the Genesis game, Streets of Rage 3. In that, if anyone remembers this, Streets of Rage 3, when it came here, they jacked the difficulty way up.
Oh, did they really?
They did. Yep. The Japanese version is a lot easier, a lot more playable, in my opinion. But considering that I consider Streets of Rage 2 one of the greatest games ever made,
Right.
Yeah.
it was tough to live up to. But I felt like it didn't even come close, personally.
On our chat, L. Young mentions Tony Hawk 5, which I think is a great one to put out there too.
Stretch Panic is another one that I can think of.
Stretch Panic.
Oh yeah.
So much hype for that game because it was Treasure, right?
Yeah.
And then it came out and it's like, what is this crap?
Well, not only that, but if you read Game Fan magazine,
I was about to say Halverson must have loved it.
or was it Gamers Republic at that
Well,
point?
Game Go was the one that had it on the cover.
Oh shit! Yeah, it was Game
Yeah.
Go,
Yeah,
but that was not Halverson. Game
No.
Go, I don't.
that was Eric Malonis.
That's right. But yeah, disappointing game.
Yeah.
Sure. All right, let's do this one from hacker alias DN Logic, who says, "I spent $130 on a SNES Classic. I knew I wanted one for sure, and I'm considering it a $50 payment to avoid the hassle of the hunt. Thoughts? Besides, it was a bargain compared to the $300 I dropped on my NES Classic. At least that's
Jeez.
how I rationalize it."
My thought is that if you are happy with your purchase, then that's all that matters.
Exactly.
I guess so.
I will agree with that. And you know what?
And it's going to be hacked, and like it's already been hacked, and they're going to have the hack set up well enough that anybody's going to be able to do it in like the next week. So you'll be able to put a huge library on that thing soon. And it's like we talked about last week. That box is super convenient. So you paid a premium for sure. But
Plus
if you're happy with that premium, then who cares what other people think?
That's right. This close to launch, only spending a $50 premium onto it, I think, is a testament to how easy it is for normal people to find this. If you're able to get it for only $50 above the retail price.
True.
Yeah, and if it's something you really have been wanting and waiting for, I was ready just in case with the Switch. If for whatever reason my pre-orders fell through, I was going to spend $500 if I had to get one. I mean, it's just because I did not want to wait. I was too excited.
Sure.
The way I look at it is like with the NES Classic last year, I know even just like personally, not even like looking for stories online, I know a fair amount of people who were really destroyed that they couldn't buy one for Christmas last year, to give to their kids or to give to their girlfriends or something like that, right? And I, again, like, if somebody decided to spend $300 on one of those things, I would never have judged them. And I didn't judge people who paid for it. I judged the people who sold it for that much.
I was about to say, so the one key qualifier is good on you for buying something you wanted, no matter the price, but the person who sold it to you is a scumbag. Yeah, sorry.
Sure.
He is.
Jeez, guys, I just wanted to make a couple extra bucks. You know?
Damn.
All right, let's wrap it up with this one from Hacker Alias Beard the Movie, who says, what were your go-to Game Genie codes and for what games? And I will say, so the Game Genie that I used the most was the Super Nintendo Game Genie.
Really?
Yeah.
More than the NES one, huh?
More than the NES one, yeah. And
well,
in part, it was trying different combinations of letters at the end of codes that were already out there, because sometimes you could tweak a little value and potentially get something. So when like the Street Fighter 2 like play as the bosses code came out, which did not work very well at all, by the way.
Still, I remember that being huge news when it was a thing.
Yeah, I sat there in my room with a notebook writing like different codes, trying anything that I could to get something to appear on the screen. And at one point I got like the little dash from Champion Edition to appear on the title screen of Street Fighter 2. And it's like, so that code exists.
I'm a hacker.
Yeah, exactly. That was my lame attempt at hacking or whatever you want to call it. But I basically used a lot of Game Genie codes, at least for more lives in games. Maybe not infinite health, because that felt like too much of a cheat. But at least I want to be able to, because in a lot of Super Nintendo games, you'd have like no continue system. So once you were out of lives, you had to start over. Yeah, or your progress was significantly impeded. So I would use infinite lives codes the most.
I would rent a Game Genie for my NES. And that was the main reason why. Like, if there was a game that me and my friends had rented multiple times and just couldn't get through, we'd rent it with a Game Genie in the hopes that there was a code that we could use for it. Or we'd see if there was a code and then rent it with a Game Genie. I did have a Game Genie for my Genesis. And it's kind of the same thing. I can't think of a particular game that I used it for, but I definitely used it to either, give extra lives, or if it was a game that was longer, like say Monaco GP, if I wanted to get into like the second season of Monaco after you won the first championship, you play another season to defend it. If I didn't want to have to work through the first championship, I would just use a code that would like leap me to that point and then move on. Like, if I'm not saying that existed, but that sort of thing is what I used it for.
It is too bad we don't still have something equivalent to a Game Genie now.
We do. They're called microtransactions.
Because the thing is I actually, as a kid, I never used the Game Genie, but now I would be more prone to, especially if I could rent games and get through them a little easier.
I used to work with a guy when I was still in game retail that was crazy about the Pro Action Replay.
Oh yeah.
He was like big into that stuff. I think he was part of like the like Creators Club or whatever it was called. He was nuts about that thing.
Yeah.
What was the difference again? I do remember hearing about Pro Action Replay.
I think it was
kind of thing.
More easily programmable. Not easily, but I think it allowed you to get sort of at the guts of the code a little bit easier.
Yeah, it would like in some points auto detect like where certain values were stored and let you auto
whereas the Game Genie was limited to those alphanumeric codes of a certain length.
And
that was
someone had to tell you the code.
Right. Yeah.
It wouldn't find it.
And I also think it made, because he was really into the PlayStation, the PS1, I think it was the Pro Action Replay, or maybe it was a Game Shark. It was a Game Shark. But I think anyway, it also made it easier to play Burns on the system, which didn't hurt.
And Japanese games as well.
And Japanese games. Yes, that was. I remember us playing. Actually, that's a good point. I remember us playing Gran Turismo, the first Gran Turismo on an American system.
Oh, okay.
Using one of those things.
Yep.
Right.
Which is the reason why I won the contest at E3 that year.
Really?
Yeah. When.
Oh, go ahead.
When so the first E3 that Gran Turismo for the PlayStation 1 was at, which I think was the E3 before I actually joined Ziff Davis. That when they unveiled Gran Turismo, they had a contest where if you could set the fastest lap time on, was maybe Trial Mountain. Anyway, it was one of the tracks that you would win a trip to go to Santa Monica, to go to a track in California and watch a sports car race trip for two, and I ended up winning. And the reason I won was because I had spent the entire summer or from prior winter the previous year practicing that track. Anyway, I didn't know they were going to do it, but I had mastered that track. So I remember there was a huge line, and I skipped a couple meetings to do this, but I went in and I played one lap, and I think I beat the best time by like 3 seconds. And I remember the Sony rep standing there was just like, wow, that's amazing. That's our fastest time by like a huge margin. 3 seconds is a huge margin for something like that.
Right.
Joined Ziff, by the way, funny footnote to that story, joined Ziff Davis and found out that the person who came second was Cyril Wojcik.
Oh, really?
Who had apparently played it multiple times, had gotten in line, and it was a long line multiple times, and just came really close to my time. It didn't beat me.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Of course, everybody here knows what I'm talking about. Cyril was the art director at EGM.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, that was a good time. Took my dad to California. It's the first and only time he's ever been to California.
Oh, nice.
All right.
Yeah, it's fun. Laguna Seca, that was the track that you got to go to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Is that where we're doing it? Greg, you want to?
Oh, yeah. So before we get into the end of the show, I just want to call out that we are now less than a month away from this year's Extra Life game day. It's on November 4th. I'm actually going to be streaming on November 4th and 5th. I'm going to do 2 12-hour stints rather than 1 24-hour because I'm too old to stay up that late. Being that it is the 30th anniversary of the PC Engine / TurboGrafx 16 this year, the theme this year is the PC Engine and TurboGrafx 16. So like I've been doing every other year, if you donate, I think I have it set at $35. You donate at least $35. Please choose any PC Engine game because I'm going to be using an emulator to ask me to play for 1 hour, and I will do so. And again, my goal this year is $10,000 raised. I'm at $1,680, I think, right now. So we got 4 weeks. Let's do that. Let's fill it up. We're going to be giving away a couple cool things, including, I believe, a Super Nintendo Classic. I got to ask CJ about that.
Yes, 2 of them.
2 of them. So we get 2 of those to give away. So donate. I will put in the rules for that as far as however X number of dollars is your name in the raffle X number of times. So extra-life.org/participant/Seward, or if you want something easier, tinyurl.com/Seward to go donate. All tax deductible. Please give what you can. We are going to raise $10,000 this year. We're going to do this thing.
Nice.
Sweet. Alrighty, and that is our show for this week. Thank you very much for listening. If you have a question for us or would like to comment on something that you heard, you can direct that to @PO1Podcast on the Twitters, or you can go to our internet website at player1podcast.com. There you'll find show notes. If you go to player1podcast.com/570, there you'll see the notes for this episode with all sorts of links, things that we talked about. So check that out. I also want to thank, we got 2 new iTunes reviews.
Oh yeah,
this week. Yes.
Were they good?
They were 5-star reviews.
Nice. Man, that is money well spent.
Yes. Shout out to hacker alias Caliman007 and Lance84858595.
What's that first guy's name?
Caliman007.
Caliman?
Caliman?
Caliman.
You got something else?
He callies me bananas.
All right. Yeah.
There you go.
So yeah, thank you for reviewing us. Anyone else who wants to rate us on Apple Podcasts, it helps. Every little bit helps.
Yep.
Expose the podcast to more people. So please,
you don't want us
if you have a second
exposing ourselves.
That's right. We're all about exposing ourselves. Yeah, and that's my bit. Go, Phil. Go.
You threw off the cadence of the whole thing.
I'm doing that all October long. So
if you'd like to subscribe to the Player One Podcast, you can do so by visiting playeronepodcast.com and or going to the iTunes Music Store. While you're at the
Apple Podcasts, really? It's called something different now.
What's it called now?
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts?
Yeah, that's the.
When did that happen?
It's a thing.
You're only calling me out because someone on Twitter told you to call me out on this.
He's calling you out because every single time I do this outro, he calls me out.
Okay.
He never ever calls you out.
You can go to Apple Podcasts. How's that?
Yeah, and get us there.
While you're there, $1.99.
Cheap.
Get you the Player One Podcast iPhone application. Does the Player One Podcast iPhone app even work with?
It does work.
Does it still work with?
I don't know how it still works, but it does.
Okay.
I mean, we pour $50,000 a year into that thing. It should work.
Yeah, that's true. Gives you one-touch communication with us via the emails, the Twitters, the what have you. Also have all of our episodes ready to stream right to listen device. And hey, Android cell phone, telephone users, the Player One Podcast iPhone application is available for your listening device as well. For that same $1.99.
Also cheap.
Find that right over there at the Amazon Android Marketplace. We're also on Stitcher Radio. You can like us on Facebook. You can watch archives of our show, including our fabulous Las Vegas live show.
Yeah.
Good time. Go check it out.
Watch us live most weeks on the youtubes.com/P1 podcast. And if you've liked what you've heard and how could you can head over to patreon.com/P1 podcast. Throw a few shekels our way. CJ's reaching for something. What's it keep CJ doing? CJ needs his copies of Star Fox Adventures.
Yeah.
Look for that on an upcoming episode of
Review. We're doing it. Star Fox Adventures. I'm gonna be playing it. We're gonna be talking about it. It's gonna be a total blast. It's gonna be a cream blast.
It's gonna be a blast from your ass.
Yeah,
ass blast.
I watched you play that game the first time around.
You sure did. You did.
Yes, I did.
I wanted to like it. You
went into it with a very positive attitude, I recall.
You're a rare fan. You're a Star Fox fan. It makes sense.
Yeah, it turned. It took a hard left turn.
Yep. Yeah. You've been following that game since it was called what? Dino Planet?
Dinosaur Planet.
Dinosaur Planet.
It. Yep. I played it at E3.
Played the N64 game.
Played it on N64.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Game is stinky. Stinky game.
It's very stinky.
Nope.
Makes a little noise like this.
Very good.
Nope.
Ethan?
Nope.
Shh, the adults are talking.
I'd say it's about an A-. Yeah, it's good.
4.5.
A-. Oh,
yeah. Jeez. Where's it stack up against Kaya?
Well, Kaya was a whole lot of hurt in a belly shirt. This is just talking about.
Every time I bring up Kaya, you deflect it by bringing up the whole lot of hurt in the belly shirt tagline. But that does
arguably the best tagline ever.
Does not negate the fact that you were super stoked for that game.
Let's just say nobody remembers Kaya
except Ethan.
I remember Kaya.
Yeah, exactly. Weirdo. If you have a couple bucks left over, I hope that guy gets on and starts ranting about how I hate Ethan now too. Because boy, was he convinced that I hated Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If you have a couple bucks left over, head over to generation-16.com where you will find a Patreon link to help support Greg Stewart's outstanding web series, Generation 16, which chronicalizes the games. It is now.
Okay.
I just invented it.
I am all for it.
Yeah. It chronicles the gamified happenings of North America's favorite second banana, the Sega Genesis. How's that new episode coming along?
It is done. If you're listening to this on the Apple Podcast Store,
Why would you be listening it on the store
or on our cheap app?
That works.
Yeah, and you are a backer, a $3 plus backer. You already have early access to the latest episode, episode 111. Which CJ, I need you to update the show notes because I think you still have episode 18 listed there.
Yeah, probably. Tell me what to put there, and I will.
Episode 111.
Okay.
And for everybody else, general release will be on Monday, the 16th, October 16th. The new episode.
There you go.
So please go check it out. And yes, please, like Phil said, if you've got a few extra dollars to spend, please consider supporting the show. Ever since I went to the game by game release, Patreon funds have gone down, but it's much more frequent releases, and that is set up to be a per episode support. So it's usually one episode a month. Please consider giving. It definitely helps.
Cool. CJ?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, no problem, Phil. Thank you.
Don't.
Thank you.
Just stop.
Just
okay.
Don't.
All right.
Shh. Hush. Hush. Gregory.
Yo.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil.
You know, just.
Oh, I thought you were gonna just totally play the opposite there.
Just
like, sorry.
Ethan.
Yes. You're welcome.
Thank you, Ethan.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ethan.
Absolutely.
And I guess we'll see everyone
Ethan,
next week.
On a scale of 1 to 10, you are an 11.
Ah, thanks.
A plus.
Yeah, you know Kaya.
Like Star Fox Adventure.
No.
On a scale from 1 to 10, you may be an 11, but on a scale, you're just get off. You're going to break the scale.
I think we all suffer from that a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
There we go.
Yeah.
How many of us are fat enough to have bought a new scale?
I just
did
bought a
that
new
one.
scale the other day.
Yep, I did that once. I had an old sort of dial scale.
Oh, yeah?
And one day I stepped on it, I was like, I don't know how much I weigh now because it's gone over the top.
Did it do a cartoony kind of? It was like, woo, woo, woo. And then the little dial just
smoking. The dial just shot out the front through the wall.
itself in the wall.
Yeah, it was like that movie, I Come in Peace. Does anyone remember that movie?
No.
No.
It was great.
Is that? I don't. No, I'm thinking of.
You'll love it.
I'm thinking Enemy Mine. I don't know why I'm thinking
man.
Enemy Mine.
That was a first choice staple when I was a kid.
Yeah. I'm thinking of Overboard.
Also a great movie.
We need to end this.
Yeah.
All right, next
Really?
week.
Overboard's kind of a rapey movie, man.
It is
let's,
extremely.
Let's talk about rapey movies off air.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Next week.
Did she put up a fight?
Yikes. Now, that's a rapey movie.
Bye, folks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.